Good morning. My time is up here at this beautiful mooring spot. I was here before I went to Crick and I'm here after I've been to Crick. I absolutely love this spot. It's right next to the bridge, and unfortunately I've had my time, so I need to move today. I'm going to be moving about 3 miles up the canal. Along with the cruising, I'm going to hopefully try and give you an idea of some of the features and perhaps some of the history of this part of the canals. I'm actually on the Grand Union right now, but I'll be going on to the Oxford. And also later on, I'm going to try and construct my hydroponic setup. I say try because I'm not sure I've got the instructions. So we will see. Let's get going. My first job is to get the car, take it to hopefully where my nearest mooring spot is going to be. I'm taking the car first so I can check that there is a spot available, because if there isn't I need to find another one. Then I'll walk back to the boat here at Narrowboat Kate and we'll start our cruise. I've made it to my parking spot near Bridge 109, and as I look over the barrier I see that yes, there is plenty of space to moor my boat. I then continue on to go past Napton Marina on my way back to my boat. I then come across this, which is the CRT doing a great job in widening the towpath by putting in new Armco. They're going to be filling that in, and that will be extra mooring spots for all of us. Here unfortunately I come across some ducks and baby ducks, and unfortunately I'm going to have to ask them to move as I walk past, because they're not likely to stay there. I continue on, and literally just a few yards up I see some geese, and they're little ones, and of course they quite kindly leave us deposits to dodge around. Thankfully they moved. Absolutely beautiful canal this. Lovely to walk on. And I arrive at Wigram's Turn Marina and the turning down the Grand Union Canal. I'm actually on the Oxford right now, and I'll be turning down there to go and get some diesel and some water. I continue my walk to a very memorable spot. This is the exact point where a few videos ago I lost one of my chains. I left it behind, so it's all my fault. Not blaming anyone for picking it up. Be nice to get it back, of course, but I managed to buy another one. And here I've seen some satellite dishes on boats, but this one is massive. Just look at the size of that. I wonder what sort of programs they get from there. Well, after a 3.8 kilometre walk, I finally get back to Narrowboat Kate and prepare to set off to my new mooring spot. And here we are, starting our journey from Bridge 102 near Flecknoe. Beautiful day, as you can see. Just to that side you might just see some cars through the hedge. That's where some of the parking is, and the other parking is behind those hedges that side. This classic cruising route takes you through the historic heart of English canal network. It covers a vital link where the Grand Union Canal and the Oxford Canal merge. Historically, this stretch was as busy as a modern-day motorway, acting as a commercial superhighway between Birmingham's industrial north and London. This section is structurally part of the Grand Union Canal system, but it shares historic running rights and geography with the Oxford Canal. Flecknoe Bridge, that's Bridge 102 where we started, your journey begins with this attractive rural bridge half a mile south east lies Flecknoe village, famous for its beautiful rolling hills and the historic church of St Mark. The canal here offers excellent peaceful countryside moorings. The Calcutt Canal legacy. As you cruise northward from Bridge 102, you are travelling alongside Calcutt Canal. Built by early engineers to follow the natural twists of the landscape, it minimises the need for locks. Here we've just come through Bridge 106, a very tight turn from one side to the other, and you need to use your horn to let people know that you're there, and that comes directly into Sixthorn House winding hole, where just about any length of boat can turn. The Grand Union Canal was built to improve the communications between Birmingham and the Midlands and London. It received its Act in 1793 and was fully opened in 1805. Its major engineering works were the two long tunnels at Blisworth and Braunston, and the long and deep cutting at Tring Summit. As we come up to Knapton Junction, this is a critical intersection where the Grand Union main line meets the South Oxford Canal. We will be turning right here with the Oxford straight ahead, because I need to fill up with water and add some diesel to my tank. The bar tolls history. In the 1790s and the 1800s, the Oxford Canal Company and the Grand Union Canal Company were fierce, bitter rivals. The Oxford Canal Company successfully forced an Act of Parliament to change aggressive bar tolls on any transferring between the two canals here, compensating for their lost traffic to London. The 1930s expansion. In the 1930s, the Grand Union Canal Company invested heavily to widen and deepen this section to compete with the rising dominance of railways, installing the concrete reinforced banks you see today. I arrive at the CRT water point at the top of the Calcutt Locks. I then move down one lock to get my diesel, and then come back up that same lock and continue on my journey to my final mooring spot. As I exit the Grand Union Canal at Knapton Junction, I turn onto the South Oxford Canal. The atmosphere immediately changes into a narrower and more intimate and incredibly scenic waterway. I head towards Bridge 109, that's the Tomler Road, Coventry Road. This bridge marks your entry into the outskirts of the historic industrial landscapes of Stockton and Knapton. As I look ahead, I see Bridge 109 as I pass the marina, and I see that the mooring spots are all free, so I will have no problem whatsoever in finding a mooring spot. By the way, my car is actually parked literally 30 or 40 yards from this bridge, just on the road there, well, in a parking spot by the road. And this is my final mooring spot. Beautiful spot. My solar panels will be facing towards the sun. And just a word about Bridge 110, which is the next bridge up the canal, Stockton Road Bridge. This area was historically dominated by the Knapton brickworks. Just past this bridge you will see the remnants of older clayworks and the brickwork infrastructure that once used the canal to ship building materials nationwide. I'll show this in a future video. Right, I think it's time for me to show you my hydroponic setup. Now, I haven't taken anything out of the box. I'm hoping everything's in there. The reason I say that is around the bottom there, don't think you can see it, but Customs opened the package and obviously it had to be repacked once they checked what they needed to check. I'm guessing they wanted to check it off after the x-ray because it's got wires in it. But you'll see in a second what is actually in the box. Why am I trying to do hydroponic setup? Well, for one, I'm fascinated by the fact that you can grow stuff without soil. essentially that's what hydroponics is. I would like to grow a large portion of my food on the boat, and this really is, well, I suppose it's the second step, because as you will see from earlier videos, I've tried to grow food in soil in the bow of my boat. Currently the potatoes seem to be doing extremely well. Biggest problem I've had is things going dry when it gets hot, because I'm not at the boat every single day to ensure the plants are watered. This has a big water reserve, so it should work quite well on the boat. The advantage is I can have it indoors because it's got its own lights. I'm doing quite well at home. I've got some peppers that are doing really well, and they're probably a couple of weeks away from harvesting. I'll show you those in a future video, just to give you an idea of what is capable of producing these things. I will need to experiment on what I grow, because some things like potatoes, for example, just would not be able to be grown in a hydroponic setup. So I'll continue to grow my potatoes out there, but I'm hoping to do things like peppers and herbs and spices for the kitchen, and I'll experiment with other types of veg and fruit. Right, let's get to unpacking the box and show you what's inside. Right, I'm going to start emptying out. Now I'm going to fast forward most of this, because you don't want to be sitting there watching me build something for an hour or however long it's going to take. So I'm going to take everything out, put it into piles ready to be assembled. Plug. Now I didn't order it in orange, this is just how it came in orange. The pictures I saw when I ordered, it was actually white. So orange is fine, I don't mind. I've actually 3D printed one of these at home already, and I've made that multicolored, so it's going to be a bit like a rainbow, and I'll show you some pictures of that when I bring it to the boat. Oops. Right, that is the box empty. And boy, do I have a lot of bits here. I'm going to be moving it a bit over that side so that I can actually have a working space. Right, I will admit I did go online to see if I've got any instructions, because there's none in the box. I will just dig them out and then I'll try and follow them. I do remember them being not very good, so I'll be bodging it as I go along. My first job is to make up the legs. So I've just checked and I've got 4 bits of everything, hence 4 legs. So I'll start with the bottom bit, that's the bottom leg. After a bit of huffing and puffing, I've got the leg pretty much assembled. Obviously that will stand up upright. Now at this stage I need to fit one of the lights. 4 lights, 1 in each corner. That looks like it's in position. And I've got these little bits here to just lock everything in place. There we go. 1 leg finished. 3 more to go. I'm just coming up to the last leg. I just want a quick word about the lights. These are special growing lights. I'm not sure if you can read that. It's full spectrum light for growing plants. So it gives all the colours of the sun basically, but without the temperature. Just want to put the last one together. And there you go, that's all 4 legs mostly completed. What I need to do now is to put some locking bits in there, just so that it all stays nicely connected together. I've separated out all my connecting bits. I'll start putting them in. Job done. 3 more to go. Right, it's time to put the legs together. Start with 2. I've got basically 2 different types of connectors. These ones are the bottom ones, and these 4 here go at the top. So that's one side successfully put together. It's got all the locking bits in that I know of. I'm going to make another one like this and then try and join all the sides together. Right, that's 2 done now. I have to get these connectors somehow to join these 2 halves together. So let's have a go. Quite big. I think the trick is going to be putting them in one side first, and I found that I need to check if these need just sanding down a little bit to make sure it's a snug fit rather than a tight fit. Right, I've got all my connectors in place. This is the tricky bit, I think, where I need to get all 4 connectors. It's tricky enough doing just one. Get all 4 at the same time through there to make it into a frame. Not sure how I'm going to do that. Yeah. Now I've got to take these top bits off and fit them properly. Success! I managed to get them all in, nothing's broken, and this is where I'm hoping to put it, and it doesn't hit the ceiling. Let me just give you a look at that. That's going to be something you cannot miss when you come in the boat. Right, next job is to wire up the LED lights. So I need to line that down. I've got a number of cables like this. There's a diagram that shows me where they've got to go. Right, after much fiddling, I think I've got the wiring right, and it's time to just test it. So I'm going to turn the lights on, hopefully. Hooray! There you go. And yes, they all work. Right, next job, the central tower. Right, as I said, going to go on to making the central tower where the plants grow. That's my bucket, which goes obviously right at the bottom. I've got a water pump. That little thing there is a water level indicator, and these are where the plants are going to go, just in these little troughs there. And if I just quickly reach across, these fit in there. Some medium goes in there, and that's where you put your seeds, and obviously they will grow from there. There's a lid. There's a few bits which I didn't know where they go. I know where that one goes. That's the lid that goes right on the top. This thing, I've got no idea where it goes. It's a really odd shape. Came in the package. I thought it might be going under the bucket, but that doesn't make sense because there's no way it's going to balance on that little bit. These bits, I've got 4 of them. I had no idea where they go, and I noticed those little pips there. And in the lighting unit in the tower, it's got some holes there, 4 holes in each corner. Now I think that actually is where they go, and then that sits there to keep the bucket in the middle. How clever is that? And some tubing there to connect to the water pump to get water to the top of the tower. Let's get building. Right, these are all the same. They're actually injection molded. They're not 3D printed like the ones I've got at home. And they've got a little mark where they're joined together so that they alternate where they go. And that is a very tight fit. As you might be able to see, they're slightly alternating so that there's room for plants to grow. I'm not going to use every single one of those because it will just get silly and too crowded, but that's looking good. Next job, next to put it on the lid. There you go, perfect. And we get our top. Need to connect one of the tubes. Connect to the water pump. That's the water pump in there and all connected up to fit the water level indicator. Now bear in mind there's not really any instructions. I'm actually doing this with a few pictures and common sense. Right, what is this? Well, that fits in there, I know that. But why have I got that? I don't know. I've just figured out what it is. If I do that, it turns itself into a funnel. And then, around this side, I've got a little opening. Put that in there, pour my water in, and it doesn't spill anywhere. How clever. Nice, I like that. Now what this does is when there's a good level of water, there's a little orange indicator in there, and as that rises it shows you what water level is in your tub. Right, I'm ready to plug all that in, ready to go. What else do I need to do? I think all I've got, unless I can figure out what that bit's for, is to put these on the main body and then put that in the middle, and we're ready to go. And just to finish it off, I'm going to put these in there so you get a good idea what it looks like. I've got a couple of bits left over. This one goes at the back there, and that helps just to guide some of the wiring. So I'll put that in a while. Now these, the trellis, they hang off of there. So if you've got climbing plants, that's what they'll use to hold on. Alright, that's done. I think that looks really good. I'm really happy with that. Let me give you a closer look. Now it does look pretty big. As you can see, pretty much goes to the ceiling. It's only a few inches spare. I actually quite like it in orange. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm going to leave it at that for now. I might fill it up with water just to make sure the pump goes. If I do that, I'll do a quick 10-second thing at the end, and we'll do some planting next week. One thing I haven't mentioned is that I've actually got a full set of spares. My intention is to put these into my home printed 3D model of exactly this. Obviously you can't 3D print lights, so I had to buy those, and once I get it all together, I'll bring in my multicolored one, find some space for it on the boat, but I want to see how this one goes first. Now of course I couldn't resist putting water in the system. No leaks, which is always a good thing. Just see this water marker there, it's just about coming up to the max level, which is where I want it, and this will hold around about 10 litres. Now what's going to happen when I turn it on? Oh, motor's going. Let's get the lights as well. That's being pumped up from there through the top. It's cascading down across each of those planters. Seems quite bright, which it is. Of course that's growing light. I'm actually really pleased with that. Yes, it's bright, but I'm growing stuff to eat, so really pleased with how it's turned out. So next week I'm going to be back. I'm not going to be cruising, so I'm going to stay here for a week or two, see how things go. Just trying to get everything in order so I can move forward. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hop over to my other channel, One Pot Tiny Kitchen. There'll be a link in the description below. Please have a look at that, subscribe. I cook one pot curries and they are delicious. Just have a look at some of the comments. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.